I had enough gas to weld that on, so that surprises me.
What the hell is that?
I read the directions on this stuff, and it says to prime it first, then seal it, and then go ahead and paint it. So I'm gonna prime and then seal around the opening where the sunroof was at. Alright, now primer's nice and dry. Let's try this shit out for size. So this is seam sealer. It's not like a silicone or anything. It's an actual automotive sealant for exactly this kind of stuff. It's same stuff that you see on like the inside of pickup beds and everything like that. So I painted the inside of that white, and I just painted the part that's going to be hard to get to. The rest of it we'll paint later when we flip it over, but it's going to be hard to paint on the inside of there once it was welded on. Maybe like 6 pairs of hands here. I had enough gas to weld that on, so that surprises me. Well, it's all welded in, it's all cleaned down. Yeah, a little bit more finishing maybe. Later on we'll, run a little bit of body filler through here and radius that a little bit. But it's gonna end up with a nice little cavity for storing God knows what. But now we'll start working on the side panels. I hate the switch on this grinder. Cut a hole in the roof here just to look to see where all this in the structure comes to. And it comes down to here, so this is like a really perfect point to anchor all this to. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back up to just before I put in this spreader plate here, cut this all out, and then put a little piece that would run from here down to that inner structure just to support that. And then the rest of this I think can just all be cut out pretty quick and easy. Alright, so I just cut this little support piece. I'm just going to weld that in right there. So I'm looking at where everything's going to end up here, and I'm kind of working off of a video I looked at of a Land Rover. But the Land Rover has a different door. It doesn't have this lifting up like that. And what I'm thinking about doing is coming to about here and then actually coming up at an angle back this way and then up. And that would give me maybe another 8 inches or so. You know, it wouldn't hang out any further than the back of the truck, but it would come up over the top of the gate, then come up, and it would just create a little bit more sleeping space. Might make it a little bit more difficult to open it, but yeah, just depends where I put the latches. All right, let's decapitate it. I'm going to have to make a temporary brace just to tack from here to there, because I'm going to cut these out, and I just want to make sure that she doesn't spill out until we have all of the topper on it. Okay, we can cut these out now. Well, that gives you an idea of how much space you're going to have. So we'll have, you know, cabinet, sink, cooker, God knows what in here. The pop top up here, and then the sleeping area will be on the roof, and there'll be solar panels on the roof. We got a ton of seam sealer in here that we're going to have to dig out with a chisel or a screwdriver. Oh, it'll take us a week or two. A screwdriver ain't worth a damn. Whatever they put in here is some good shit, but this actually works. It takes about 30 minutes to clean out one drip rail, and this stuff just gets everywhere. So it's going to take some good cleaning to get rid of it all. Well, almost an hour to clean both rails, and I give that like a 2 on the phonometer. Yeah, I could think of a lot better things to do than that. There's a lot of trimming to do yet. I mean, we're sitting behind my finger high, and the back has got to come down a lot. I bent a little piece of scrap metal, and then I tacked it on here so it's flush with here. And that's just because I'm going to have to take the side panel on and off a dozen times, and I just needed some way of holding it in place while I mark it and level it and all that kind of stuff. So there's about roughly 3 inches that this has got to come down, and there's about 4 1/8 here. So that's sitting in there level. We'll trim this in, and then what we'll do is we'll set the other one by measurement off of the car, because you know this car could be sitting one way or another based on like air pressure and stuff like that. So this is just making sure that when we drive it into a shipping container, it goes in. So it'll be lower in the back and higher in the front, so it'll be level. Got a little more notching to do, and I'm going to shorten this end up that much. It's just a little too close to the hatch when it's all the way up. But, you know, we'll end up with a little over 7 feet of sleeping space this way. So we've got to trim all this up yet, and just a little bit more here. But other than that, she's about ready to go on. So I'm just going to take this, once I get this one cut, lay that on top of the other one and use that as the template for the other side. I've got this sitting now where I like it, and I've got this gap, so I'm going to have to put a little bend in here, so this will get cut away at the angle, but same thing, a little bend back in here so that the two of these line up. This will be a challenge. Looks like it's going to go in a little bit, but I'm liking that. The angle seems pretty good. So, but it looks like I've got to come in just a little bit more. So now it's just the same thing, but in reverse. So we got about 7 inches of snow, so the guy for this engine never got to come and get it because it kind of snowed in. But anyway, let's bend this one. Alright, so I've set this by using the drip rail on the inner structure of the car, and as you can see, they just blend into each other. So it's as close as it's going to get. And when this is all wrapped up, I can then use this to level the car and build the rest of the pop top on. Alright, so I just welded up this one side here and cleaned it down. I'm going to do the other side, and then I figure that will kill all of the gas in the welder, and that way I can run out first thing in the morning and get more gas. I just went down the road and bent this piece up, so this is going to be the back piece. So this will be the top, this will be the vertical edge you see, and this will be the piece that tucks back in above the tailgate. And then I was looking online at some LED lights, and I seen a couple that have a light and a turn signal in them, but they're a little bigger than this. So what I'm thinking is I'll get those, and then I'll just make a round pocket that'll come down here towards the edge so that it's away from the tailgate. It'll actually give it kind of a cool look too, but that's later on. Alright, it's starting to come in. It's getting a little easier to hold it in place now because it's kind of starting to here. But it's definitely going to come back further than I thought. The hatch is still going to open fine, that's not a problem. But it's going to actually end up on here more than I expected. So what I'll do is, it's going to be too tight in the back here to weld it. So later on I'll weld it through on this side, and then we'll just put another reinforcing piece that comes down onto the actual structure, not the roof. And we'll just weld it in 2 spots. Okay, so that took way too long to trim in. It's going to need a little bit of cleaning up right here because it sits back further on there than I thought. So we'll put that on, we'll tack it on, and then we'll work on an internal brake. Well, that worked out actually better than I had planned on. Alright, kind of different. So we'll get in here later, we'll clean all this out, and we'll put some seam sealant in here and seal it all up. Finish welding it all the way along the edge there. And put some like tail lights, high mounted tail lights up there.